welcome to part 2. In this episode I'm going to be building the airframe, getting ready for paint. It all starts in the nose. These are the resin exhaust mounts, and as you can see I'm using plastic cement, and yes, it does work. These radiator parts took careful painting, and if I'm honest, they kind of disappeared down these long dark tunnels. The kit parts are absolutely fine. I'm going to be making other versions of this kit, and I will buy the set, but I'll just use it for the radiator flaps. I'll probably just use the kit parts. Just for these radiator screens, more than adequate. Just using my scraper there to open up the holes so it just fitted a bit better, and you can see all those lumps and bumps. I had to remove those because they do interfere with the fit. But there you go, you can see all the way down there. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to see. And at the back, all fits well though. Main event. Give the fuselage a bit of a dry fit first. You can see I've added the tail wheel bay as well. And then using the black super glue with these, quite frankly, indispensable applicators, I can just apply the glue along the seam. Now, the engineering and the breakdown of this particular kit, oh there we go, belt and braces, not taking any chances, means, so the breakdown means you can tackle sort of one seam at a time, which is a real bonus actually. Just going in with a bead of super glue over the top, just in case there's any sort of gaps in the glue. And then once dry, it doesn't take long at all. We can just go in with sanding sticks, sanding sponges, and just take care of the seam. Brilliant. The top seam, because it's kind of glued at the bottom, you can just make sure just hold it open, make sure there's a hairline gap, run the applicator down, let the glue flow into the join, and then give it a squeeze, and then hold it until the glue sets. Make sure it doesn't move. You can see that I'm doing here. It looks messy and untidy. You could give it a wipe, but I don't bother. There you go. You can see it all kind of splurging out, if you like. And look how neat that is. I was chuffed to bits how that went. Using the black super glue, you can see where you're going. It dries very quickly. Zero chance of shrinkage. Just going in with my ASK curved, very fine saw blade to restore those panel lines. We'll clean it out, and then a little bit of fast drying extra thin. And what that'll do is just any swarf and gunge and rough bits, it'll just melt those away. Right, out with my new steady scriber. If you haven't seen the full review, I'll put a little link at the end. Absolutely brilliant piece of kit. And we'll just restore those circular panels. Obviously they're going to get damaged because they're so close to the seam. And then with said scriber, what I did is I went round some of the panels on the nose, because I want this to, take a wash really well. The panel lines, don't get me wrong, they're beautifully fine, crisp, but by just doing that kind of scribing tool down them, will scratch them up, so they will take a wash much better. Just restoring this panel on the nose, what I should have done really is obliterate it completely, because I got it slightly misaligned, that template, which meant I had a really tricky filling and scribing job a little bit later on. Going in, restoring the rivets now. What I do is I kind of move the scribe bit all around, and you can just feel it kind of fall into the existing rivets. It's quite handy. This is the rear decking. I'm going to paint this up, weather it, finish off with a BMS satin varnish. You can see there that makes the rivets pop. And these are all the components that are ready to put into the fuselage half. Now the instructions say to put the fuselage half, put the cockpit into the fuselage half first, and then join the fuselage halves. But I found it easiest to do it afterwards. This little bit is a real fiddle. Take it from me, this is not take one. I just found the easiest way is just add the glue while it's sticking out, let the glue sort of grip a bit, and then you can just push it into place. Oil cooler, radiator, blah, intake thing just goes in. Slight hairline gap there, so I did go in with a bit of Mr. Surfacer just to seal the gap. And then the rear decking gets glued from the inside, and then that way I know that I'm not going to mar the surface with any sort of glue splurging out at all. But the fit is perfect. I do give it a bit of a squeeze though. That's because you would have seen in part one I removed those little pins at the top of the cockpit sidewalls. Don't do that. There we are. You can see also I've painted olive drab around the cockpit opening. That's going to help with masking later. Two options for the wheel wells. You can have the canvas covers or you can have the open ones. I like the look of the canvas cover actually. I thought it was beautifully moulded with all the contours. And using acrylic glazes, you can go in adding highlights, lowlights, and just add the depth, just exactly how the figure painters do it. You will note that the interior green there, again, that was brush painted. I got that wrong, and you'll see how I correct that in due course. But that's all acrylics, that. XF55 deck tan, and then there you go. There you can see I've corrected the canvas. A couple of inserts for the lower wing. They just pop into place, glued from the inside. A couple of options here. Depends what kind of ordnance you want to sling under the fuselage. I'm going for the drop tank, so I need this one. There's also one at the back, and I did ream that out as well for an in-scale look. Some nice pipework detail at the front. You'll see what happens to that later. White cap glue, brilliant stuff. Very, very strong bond. And we'll just dry fit the wheel well there, the top wing. And that looks great in there, I will say. Right, wings are being glued together, and I did find that the control column had dried at a very slight angle, which was a bit irritating. Therefore, what I did is I just angled the ailerons accordingly, ever so slightly. Pure accident, not by design. There's just enough play to enable you to do that. Just a hairline seam, a little bit of Mr. Surfacer. I did use masking tape actually to protect the detail, and we'll just seal that join. And that's all it is. It's not a gap as such, it's just sealing the join. You'll see I've drilled out the gun barrels. That's easy to do because there are depressions in there. Shamelessly nicked from Plasmo. Just filling in the landing light. Now we can start putting the airframe all the component parts together now, starting with the tailplanes, just using the tab there just to smear the glue on the join. There is some photo etch sort of actuators. The steady tweezers are an absolute godsend for this. You can see I've actually bent that one, which is a bit of a pain, but when the glue was dry I did straighten that out just using the tweezers and a bit of pressure. Quite fiddly that. Talking of fiddly, that little sort of widget at the top for the aerial wire as well. Again, smear of Mr. Surfacer just to seal the join, no gaps, just belt and braces. This sort of rudder actuator post job, a nice little bit of detail that it is visible through the gap between the rear fuselage and the rudder. We'll just glue that together, and then when that is dry we'll just pop that in the back end. In it goes, and that's a nice little detail that. And we're going to dry fit the one-piece rudder, and it's hollow. It's a brilliant piece of moulding. The main event in any aeroplane model is the wing to fuselage. And just a little bit of white cap glue there, quite thin. And what that will do is that'll just hold things in place just long enough so we can go in with the extra thin that you'll see interfrastically. Did have a slight gap at the rear end there, right at the very back. Probably because there's a sprue attachment joint there, and I probably just removed a little bit too much material when trying to clean that up. But other than that, the joint is absolutely flawless. I did actually crack the right hand wing root join, but didn't even bother gluing it back again. I didn't need to. Right, this piece covers up that beautiful pipework detail, so don't bother spending any time doing a load of detail careful painting on all that, because you're not going to see it, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. Okay, the windscreen. I've masked and painted the inside as well as the outside, but the contours don't quite match. Just at the front there, where I'm sanding, there should not be any join, and I am going to make sure that is completely eliminated. I did use a scraper as well, just to match the contours initially, and then went in with the Flory sanding sticks. Just using a bit of Mr. Surfacer there, just to make sure that that's absolutely seamless. But you'll see in the next episode, in the final part, the painting and weathering, I do have a bit of a mayday. So stay tuned to find out what happens there. But it's worth taking the time over this just to try and fair it all in. And then just going in with the sponge just to polish things up. And I will go in with a riveting tool just to restore those rivets. Right, panel lines, because this is glued with liquid cement, it is going to be a bit wibbly wobbly in that join, and the razor saw will just level the surface. Just using a bit of guide tape, and then going in with the Tamiya scriber, we can make that look like all the other panel lines. Onto the home stretch now, just getting ready for paint. And I downloaded these masks for the intakes. Now they're designed for this 2mm craft foam stuff, But in my silhouette cutter, you actually need a separate blade for that, which I don't have. Therefore, I cut them out on white vinyl and just use those as a template. And actually, it worked a treat. I got the files from, what was it called now? Hawaiian Air Depot, I think they're called. Got to pay for them, but they're only a couple of US dollars. And there we go. That's going to mask that off quite nicely, and I'm going to get a nice join between the interior green and the external colour. Same for the wheel wells. You can see there just on the bench the template. Masking off the cockpit then. Obviously the inside has been masked. The rear canopy bit, that is just being put on with a blob of blue tack. And the reason for that is I didn't want to glue that in and then discover that I got a bit of dust or crap up inside, because it would be almost impossible to clean that out. That'll be glued on right at the end of the project. And this is how, I thought I'd go into a bit of detail on this one. This is how I normally mask up my cockpits. I'll put a bit of masking tape over the aperture. Sometimes I'll put a bit of foam just to sort of back it up a bit. I didn't in this case. And then with a new scalpel blade, I'll just run that around, make sure it's burnished down properly, and make sure it is a new blade, otherwise it's not going to work properly. And then all I'll do is I'll just trim that to size. Just using the part as a guide. It's easier if you just go in and stab the tape halfway down like that, and then you can just use the part as a guide and just trim it off. Sometimes the excess tape does stick to the knife and stuff, which is a bit of a pain, so try not to make it too big. And there we are, that is all masked. We'll just have to keep burnishing that down. It will stick eventually. At the rear, the seat actually is higher than the sill, and the easiest way to seal that gap is just with a bit of blue tack, again using the steady precision tweezers, and then just to make sure everything is finally sealed in, just a bit of liquid latex stuff just to seal the joins. And there we are, that's it, we are ready for paint. So thanks very much, join me in the next part where we're going to do the painting and weathering, and I'll see you then.